Hello, dear students. A very good morning to you all. Hope you all had a relaxing weekend after your tests. Okay, so today we are going to continue with our chapter number 2, that is Europe and India. Now, we'll just quickly see what you all studied in the first lecture of chapter number 2. You all learned about period of Renaissance, geographical discoveries, rise of capitalism, imperialism, imperialism of British East India Company in India, struggle between English and French. So this is what you all have learned in the previous lecture of Europe and India. Okay. Now today you all will learn about religious reform movement, intellectual revolution in Europe, revolution in political sphere, and American War of Independence. Okay, so are you ready, students? Come, let's begin. So we have our very first topic, religious reform movement. Now when you hear this word religious or religion, okay, these words religious and religions are one and the same, they are related, right? Okay, so when it comes to religious means something related to religion, right? Okay, now reform means to make changes to improve something, so that is nothing but your reformation. And movement you all know. Okay, so we will see the religious reform movement in this particular topic. Okay, so we have our first point, the intellectuals attacked the priests for looting the people in the name of religion. Okay, now we all know we follow different religions, right? We have Hindu, um, we have Roman Catholic as one religion, okay, Christianity, then we also have Islam, okay, so many religions are there in our country, right? Okay, so the intellectuals who were there, now who are these intellectual students? Intellectuals are people who place high value on things of interest to the intellect, especially in the fields of knowledge. Okay, they are highly knowledgeable, you can say. Okay, they acquire a lot of knowledge, they are interested in gaining a lot of knowledge. So these intellectuals attacked the priest, so they verbally, you can say, they attacked the priest for looting the people in the name of religion. Looting means, yes, making people, you can say, making the people of that particular time, they, they kind of try to fool the people. Okay, they started looting the people in terms of money, you can see, okay, in different ways. Okay, so this intellectuals believed that the priest of Roman Catholic Church were looting the people in the name of religion. They were collecting money from the people and they were completely looting the people. So the intellectuals did not like it. So they attacked the old religious ideologies of Roman Catholic Church. So as this intellectuals believed that the priest is nothing but a person uh, who is at a, you can say, higher authority in the church. Okay, now they attacked the old religious ideologies. Now who attacked? The intellectuals, okay, the people who are quite knowledgeable. So they attacked the old religious ideologies. Ideologies means a kind of a belief we have, no, we have a set of opinions within a group, you can say. So these ideologies, these opinions of Roman Catholic Church were also attacked. Okay, attacked in a sense, they actually did not go and fight with them, but kind of verbal attacked. Okay, they started telling the Roman Catholic priest that you are doing these things wrong, you are trying to loot the people, and so on. Okay, so the Christian priest took advantage of the ignorance of the people. Now the Christian priests who were there, they knew that people don't know, like, some people were very orthodox during that time. Okay, they blindly believed whatever the priests used to say. So these Christian priests took advantage of the ignorance of people. Okay, people kind of took it very, did not take it very seriously, all the things, but they kind of ignored certain things. So their ignorance was taken advantage of by the priest. The movement which started against these old religious ideologies and unnecessary rituals is known as religious reform movement. So now why this movement started? It was because the intellectual thought that a lot of corruption was going on in the churches in place of religion. You all know what is corruption, right? A lot of corruption happens in our country too, right? So a lot of corruption was happening in the church, in in the name of religion. And the priest gained, you can say, loyalty. Okay, they were considered as the highest, as a highest authority. Okay, so here they thought like that, the intellectuals, and that's why what they thought, that we'll start a movement against the old religious ideologies. Okay, and unnecessary rituals that are just going on in this Roman Catholic Church. Some necessary rituals, okay, but then there were some unnecessary rituals also. Now what are rituals? You can say, in Christianity, if you say baptism is a ritual, confirmation is a ritual. Okay, the ceremonies, you can say. So there were some unnecessary ceremonies happening in the Catholic Church, which this intellectuals did not like, and that's why they started a movement known as religious reform movement. So this was all about your religious reform movement. Due to this movement, human freedom and rationalism gained importance. So as the ideologies were separated, or the old ideologies replaced over here, and the rituals, unnecessary rituals, were removed, human freedom was given more importance. People were free to choose whatever they wanted. Okay, and rationalism means, you can see, the belief that actions and opinions should be based on reason rather than on emotion or religion. So whatever actions you are performing, it should be completely based on reason, and not on the basis of emotion, or on the religion based. So whatever you're doing, it should not be religion based, but it should be completely out of reason. Okay, so this was about your religious reform movement. Then next is intellectual revolution in Europe. Again, the society was stepping out of blind faith and past ignorance due to Renaissance. Okay, now we all know that intellectuals, the people who are interested, who are very knowledgeable, who have a great interest in the field of knowledge, right? Okay, so again, there was intellectual revolution in Europe. The society was stepping out as more and more educated people started coming forward. They started educating the people about blind faith. Okay, blind faith means at times we believe in something without knowing the reason. Okay, so that is something that we call it as blind faith. We kind of believe, yeah, just because our parents are believing, or our friends are believing, I am also going to believe. So that is something that is blind faith. We do not reason it out, we do not find out the reason why we are into this. Okay, so that is nothing but blind faith. And past ignorance due to Renaissance. So there was a lot of ignorance, as I said earlier. Okay, so slowly as the intellectuals came forward, they started educating the people about this blind faith and ignorance. So traditional knowledge, blind faith, and the age old customs and traditions were challenged over here. Okay, so slowly all the blind faith, all the evil practices slowly started going away. Okay, your age old customs and tradition. Now if you see the age old customs, now earlier times, if you see, sati was practiced, but nowadays we do not practice it, okay, because people are educated now. Sati means after a husband dies, the wife has to jump in the pyre, right? So this was about sati. So nowadays we don't have it because now people are quite educated. So this age old customs were challenged over here, that okay, so they were seen from a critical point of view, so they were critically analyzed, okay, and the intellectuals who were there, they started telling the people that what is wrong and what is right. So these changes which came over here is nothing but your intellectual revolution. This gave further momentum to scientific discoveries in Europe. Okay, so people started believing in science, you can say, or they moreover started reasoning things, okay, then just believing them, then just believing them blindly. Okay, so this momentum means scientific discoveries got a boost, you can say, okay, strength. Okay, so this was about intellectual revolution in Europe. Then we have revolution in political sphere. Okay, now many political changes and revolutionary events took place in 18th and 19th century. There were a lot of political changes related to politics, you can say. So there were a lot of political changes in 18th and 19th century in Europe. So this period is known as age of revolution. Now revolution means something suddenly when it changes, okay, that is nothing but your revolution. So this age is known as age of revolution. Now let's learn something about Bill of Rights in this. So this Bill of Rights, you can say, now in 1689 this Bill of Rights was passed in the country England, and here is the information of it. Okay, now according to this Bill of Rights, the Bill of Rights was passed by the Parliament. Now what is Parliament? We have already studied about it in our introduction to the parliamentary system in our civics chapter. So Parliament is nothing but a legislative body of government, the body of government that makes laws. So this Bill of Rights was passed by which body of government? The Parliament. Okay, so the legislative body. The sovereignty of Parliament was established. Now what do you mean by sovereignty of Parliament? Sovereignty of Parliament means it is nothing but where the Parliament is a supreme legal authority, is a supreme head, you can say. It has the highest power which can create or end any law. So above the Parliament there is no one. Okay, nothing is there above the Parliament. Parliament is at the supreme level. Okay, who can create or who can end this Parliament can end the laws as well. So the sovereignty of Parliament was established. Then the powers of king was curtailed. Now earlier times, what happened before this Bill of Rights, the kings had all the powers in their hand. They used to do whatever they want. They used to rule the people according to their own wish, you can say. So these kings had a lot of power, but when this Bill of Rights was passed, the powers of kings was curtailed. Curtailed means reduced. Okay, and then what happened? This gave momentum to development of parliamentary democracy. So when this king's powers were cut off, they were reduced, the democratic form of government came into being. Okay, so in which the party, now democratic parliament means, or parliamentary democracy means, in which the greatest representation in the parliament forms the government. The leader becomes a prime minister. This everything we have studied in EVS chapter, so I'm not going much in detail. So here parliamentary system was established. Okay, so king's powers were reduced and parliamentary democracy was gaining its momentum. Okay, so this was a revolution in political sphere. Then we come to our last topic for today, that is American War of Independence. Now this event, that is American War of Independence, began in the year 1776. okay, and ended in 1789. Okay, now American War of Independence, it is very much clear, it will be obviously country America. Okay, now as we know, with the background of revolutionary development in Europe, it is equally important to think about the American War of Independence. Now, with the discovery of America, okay, now there were various European countries who turned their attention towards this continent, okay, American continent over here. So everyone had an eye on this particular America. Okay, so the European countries turned their attention. Turned their attention means they started, you can say, gaining, or they started establishing their colonies in the regions of America. So imperialist European countries established colonies in different regions of America. Now, what do you mean by imperialist or imperialism? It is nothing but a policy, this we have studied in our last lecture, a policy of extending a country's power and influence through colonialism, use of military force or other means. Okay, so to extend a country's power. Okay, so this European countries now started establishing colonies. Now colonies is nothing but it's a group of people who leave their native place but retain ties with parent state, you can say, or a country under the full or partial political control of another country. Okay, okay, so England established now 13 colonies on the east coast of America. So England came over here and England started establishing its 13 colonies in America. Okay, a group of people, a country or area under full or partial control, you can say. Okay, so England started establishing its control over here. Now in the beginning, England had control over this America, over this colonies. Okay, so but later English Parliament laid, you can say, oppressive restrictions and taxes on these American colonies. So the people in America revolted against it. The people did not like the England over here laying down so many oppressive restrictions and taxes, where the people had to pay so many taxes. There were so many restrictions that were laid down by England. This people did not like. Okay, and that's why it created a discontent and the people revolted. So this created a discontent means they were not feeling secure, you can say, they were not happy, okay, with with England, you can say. So because of these taxes and restrictions, so what the people of America did, they revolted. Okay, now the people of America revolted because of this taxes and all. So England declared war to suppress its colonies. Now England thought that might be the war might suppress the colonies, they might remain quiet, but then nothing happened like that. Now American colonies organized the army under the leadership of George Washington. Okay, and finally won against England. Now America was also like very strong. So America under the leadership of George Washington, what they did, they fought in the war and they won the war against England. So this event is known as American War of Independence. So the colonies who were there, they won the war, and a new nation known as USA, we call it as, so United States of America was born in a sense. It was established. Okay, so it had a federal government, federal, as I had explained to you all earlier, written constitution. Now America's constitution is a written one, right? So England's constitution is an unwritten one. Okay, this we have studied, and was based on principles of democracy. Okay, so after this American War of Independence, people started becoming, you can say, aware about the things that were happening in and around, and because of these things, there was principles of democracy. The federal government, the written constitution and the constitution which was there, it was completely based on the principles of democracy. So this was about American War of Independence. So this is what we have studied in today's lecture. We studied about the religious reform movement, then we learned about intellectual revolution in Europe, revolution in political sphere, and the American War of Independence. The next subtopics we'll study in our next lecture. Okay, so that's all for today. So thank you, dear students, for listening to me patiently. See you all in the next class.